Good early morning to you. From Can Angels Fly, I'm Nancy. And today we're here to talk about the elite versus the rest of humanity and the influence of Saturn. Now, yesterday I just did an Aquarius rant. So this is a continuation of that Aquarius rant. Now, in an Aquarius rant, I'm more or less focused on the influence of Saturn in an individual's life. Now, I'm going to focus more on the influence of Saturn in a person's individual life, in the contents of the lessons taught to an individual by Saturn, assisting them, an individual, me, you, or any individual humanity, contending with the elite. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm going to take my glasses off. Oh, good early morning. How are you? How did you sleep last night? Let me define some terms so we're on the same page. The elite, I classify as those born into a family, a bloodline. It is ultimately generation after generation, a lineage of people that inherit the fine details and rules and regulations to this physical realm. Now, why are the elite special? Why is it that these rules or regulations to living in this physical realm are special? Well, number one, the standing or written rules to living in this physical world, your existence, that question of why am I here, is so important. Because think about it. We spend our lives wondering, why are we here? What's taking place? Did God forget us? Did he create our creator create us and leave and forget about us and didn't leave us no rules? And we go crazy. And then we push it to the back of our minds and we move on and live out life as defined by everybody outside of us. We don't know. And so we're easily manipulated. But the elite, those particular bloodlines, that have access from birth, are taught these rules and regulations and policies, we can say, about living in this realm. And so they have the upper hand and are capable of manipulating the rest of humanity. That's what the elite are. Those that know the rules to living in this world and how to play this game called life. Where the rest of humanity, for the most part, have been in the blind. It has taken us who, me, you, and everybody in humanity, centuries to become awakened, to gain enlightenment on those particular topics. Subjects. The subject matter is how to live in this world, how to play the game. So most likely, this video will be entitled Game, Recognize Game. Or maybe, I don't know, Awaken. Game, recognize game. We are awakened. We are gaining enlightenment. So let's talk about this, because this, what can you call it, battle of the elite versus humanity is important, not only to the individual, but to the world at large. And so in this video, I'm going to explain why. I know you already know, but we're going to highlight that here so that you don't just push it to the back of your mind anymore. You don't become or continue to be numb or dumbed down. Some things we need to look at. I remind you that this is an extension, basically, or branching from my March 2018 Aquarius rant. But the information that I will offer in this video is important, and the importance of this message doesn't just fade away. No, this message has been in the contents of this message has been in play for centuries and will continue to be during the course of the rest of humanity. In this video, I need a little lip gloss, y'all. I'm getting a little chappy. Just summer cologne. In this video, we're going to talk about generational drug usage. We're going to talk a little bit more about the elite. And we're going to talk about how Saturn and, Saturn is assisting humanity in awakening. So where do I start? I do have a few little scribbled notes, but there is really no order or outline to this video. I'm just sharing to make sure that you stay awake. So where do I start? Gang, recognize gang. Well, first of all, we who, me, you, and every individual in humanity must first come to understand, to see for our own selves that there is an elitist class. Yes. There are people that understand why we're in this realm. And all the information associated with that subject is secret. It is a part of the secret knowledge. And that secret knowledge that is hoarded by the elite is something that allots them the ability to manipulate and or control the rest of humanity. So it's going to be difficult for humanity, me, you, everybody, to move forward and to completely awaken without coming to acceptance of this fact. How do we know it's a fact? Well, we would have to look back through history to see that, number one, the level of wealth a particular elite family has. It's usually generational. It's a real life legacy. The wealth. We're not talking about riches. We're talking about wealth. Is a clue that this exists. This what? That they hold the knowledge to this world and therefore can manipulate it and control it in their favor. Another clue to this or that being a fact is that they have been able, they who the elitist families, bloodlines, have been able to construct a successful construct or multiple constructs in order to puppeteer the people of the world. And the people of the world don't even know it's taking place. You being played. But in this video, I'm pointing out, highlighting, making known so that you don't forget, so that you won't fall asleep again, that there's something taking place, manipulation, control, and it's only happening because we've been asleep, because you are asleep. But we're awakening now. And now that we're awakening and learning these facts are the rules and regulations to this realm, to existing and playing in this realm. We're coming to understand. We're coming to know. The game recognizes game. Game recognizes game. So I guess I could start. See, I'm moving slow. Other than I guess my sinuses are clogged this morning. Let's talk about the game from the elitist standpoint. The elitists know that this realm can be potentially a heavenly state, or a hellish state. They know that. They know that, what can I call it? Like alchemy, metaphysics. It is all our basic sciences, etc., etc. That's just an example. But they understand the mechanisms or the mechanics that run, the programming that runs this realm that we live in. They know this. What are we talking about? Right now, we're talking about the elitists and how they play the game. You know, it's I'm not a sports person, but defense and offense or something like that. So how they play the game from their perspective as a team is the elite versus the rest of humanity. So right now we're just talking about the elite. Just stay with me. Ride the wave with me. Because right now my ears are clogged. So my voice sounds funny, echoing. So I'm going through a little bit of something right now. But this message is important. Just ride with me. We're talking about the elite. So how do they play the game? The elite understand, once again, that this realm has rules and regulations that you must follow to reside in it. If you follow a particular set of rules, it can take you to a hellish state. If you follow another set of rules, it can take you to a heavenly state. They know this. If we were to follow the rules and regulations that would create a heavenly state on this earth, it would bring a sense of equilibrium, a sense of balance, a sense of harmony in this physical place for all that exists at any given time. And therefore, it's like everybody would have a portion, a piece. But with that being said, if that be the case, that would mean that there wouldn't be a select group, an elite group, that would be able to manipulate nor control humanity in order to manipulate circumstances and situations in the elite's favor, making them rich, not rich, wealthy. I'm gonna have to do a video on wealth. Some people don't understand what real wealth is. I have covered it a little bit though. Anyway, We are talking about right now at this part of the video about how the elite play this game called life. And so we can look at the elite as the board masters because they're manipulating what? The rest of humanity. To do what? Work in order to make them wealthy. And the only way that the elite have been able to puppeteer the rest of humanity is because the elite have the rules to this realm. And the rest of humanity is dumbed down. When I talk about dumbed down, I'm just going to interject. That's why we're going to talk about generational drug usage. But we got to finish with the elite. I'm trying to speed up. I just woke up, y'all. Yeah, I wake up looking like this, y'all. Okay. Let's talk a little more about, or can I continue to talk about the elite? Now, one of the areas related to this physical realm is planetary energy. You know, in astrology, we learned that the planetary bodies and their alignments create vibrations that compel us or impel us to relate to this world, this physical world, a certain way. But my question is, how many of us were born into families that taught you this rule? I know I wasn't. But those elitist family, they were taught that there is a governing vibration that is brought on by the planets in their alignments that impel you to relate to this realm a certain way. They know that. We didn't. One of those planets that I've been spotlighting, that's been my focus lately, is that of Saturn. And I bring Saturn up. Remember, this video is basically a continuation of my Aquarius rant from March 2018. And in that video, I talked about Saturn effect on an individual. Now we're going to talk about the individual effect, but it's going to be leaning more toward how the cultivation of the individual is for the betterment of the masses, the world, humanity. So, how do I continue? Saturn. Now, we're still talking about the elitists and how they play the game. The elitists know that Saturn's energy or vibration is over leading you and I and every individual in humanity to be responsible, to mature, to restrict ourselves, deny ourselves, limit ourselves, perfect ourselves, master ourselves through those different type of means, etc., etc. You got to study the energy of Saturn in detail. They know this. We didn't. So, the elite, we're going to say, is dominating this world. They are becoming extremely ridiculously wealthy and healthy while we are dying and falling into poverty and hardship and worry. That's a part of Saturn too. Now, why am I bringing up the elite, you, and Saturn? Because you got to remember, the elite know that there are demands that must be met if you want to bring about that heavenly state. The elite also know if that heavenly state is achieved, they lose their authority over the rest of us. They can't let that happen. So what do? They have created a construct or many constructs that govern our lives. We're puppets. And those constructs, how do I fit it here? Those constructs that have been created by the elitist our purpose is not to bring about a heavenly state in this physical world for all of us. They lose their dominion. No, those constructs have been created to lead us to a hellish state. Then we all need a savior. We all need a savior. So how can I say that clear? Because I'm not even sure I said that appropriately. The current constructs that we live up under are counterproductive to us bringing a heavenly state upon this earth. Those constructs that we are currently up under lead us to a hellish existence. The purpose is to lead us to a hellish existence for a reason. And that reason, as long as you're in a hellish place, you're looking for salvation. So, what am I saying? Is that the elite set the cadence for us to have to work really, really hard because we're coming out of a hellish state, attempting to get over to a heavenly state. So you remember the demands of Saturn are rigid, critical, tedious even. So we gotta work real, real, real hard to bring back a heavenly state in which we don't need a savior. We don't need the salvation of the elite anyway. And, I wish I could do this better. Let me go back. I got to go back to the center of the subject. And the center of the subject is about Saturn and its demands. Just focus on Saturn and its demands. Even if we were just all one, no elitists versus humanity, we just all one. Saturn still got his rules. And you ain't got to do nothing. You ain't got to do it. But if you want things to be a certain way, then you got to put the work in. Okay? So Saturn, energy doesn't change. It's still demanding this tedious work. And Saturn, it does give a gift. It gives you the gift that is equivalent to your work. Whatever work you do, that's what you get in return, the results of it. So Saturn doesn't take away anything, or it doesn't add any additional anything. You do the work, that's what you get. Okay. That means that we would have to have the majority of humanity working for a purpose or a cause. And what purpose or cause is that? To reach a heavenly state. Okay. That's the center. That's the center. Now I got to go split it again, which is making it difficult because we still have the elitists. In reality, we have the elitists versus the rest of humanity. And the rules still apply. But we have the elitists dominating this world, creating circumstances and situations by or through those constructs they have created that's putting the odds against us. It's making it more difficult to meet the demands of just Saturn. We ain't talking about the rest of the planets. We just talking about Saturn. So, you still got to work real, real hard. How can I say this? The elite are working smart because they have the rules. They're awake. They've been awake since birth. Where the rest of humanity is working hard as hell. Why? Because we didn't have the rules to how to play this game. So now, at this point in time in the history of humanity, entering the age of Aquarius, the age of awakening and enlightening and gaining clarity and coming to understand the rules to the game, the playbook. That's what I was trying to think of. The playbook. We are being awakened to the playbook of this realm. So we got to work that much harder to reestablish heaven here on earth. A space conducive of being re-educated and becoming one with the all. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm starting off slow, y'all know. My ears clogged. I just woke up. So just ride the wave with me. Now I'm going to attempt to go to the other side. What side? The side that I'm on, that you're on, that the rest of humanity is on. Again, in that Aquarius rant, I was discussing how Saturn can affect or influence a person's, individual person's life and experiences, and what Saturn was requesting of us. So I'm going to just highlight that a little bit here. Saturn's job, once again, is to get you, me, and every individual in humanity to grow up, to mature. Whatever it takes. Do you have to limit yourself for something? Do you have to deny yourself for something? Do you have to work really, really hard? What kind of works do you have to do? Do you have to become ordered or disciplined or structured? You know, those kind of things. This is Saturn's job. And this energy of Saturn has always been doing its job. We just didn't understand. So, how does that play in for you, me, and the rest of people in humanity? Well, it's about getting the individual to grow up. It's about cultivating the individual. Understand this. Every man, woman, and child has their own gifts. Most of us don't even know our gifts. We have no idea what our gifts are or what our purpose is. That's okay. That's okay. Because Saturn is going to help you learn what those gifts are by putting demands upon you. Now, that's another thing I talked about in that Aquarius rant. And basically, I was pointing to the lawsuit that I worked my way through for over a year, as well as some other life experiences I share in brief, to show how my life itself was a teacher. I got it. And you too got something, or you're on the verge of getting something. But first we had to be awakened. But we're up now, age of Aquarius. So let's talk a little bit, because we're on the side of humanity. Me, you, and everybody in humanity's side right now. Those that came into this world without the playbook, to how to play this game called life. That's that. So, every man, woman, and child has their gift. Most of us don't even know what our gifts are, but that's okay, because life is going to help us figure them out. And the job of Saturn is to help you unearth those gifts, not just unearth them, a little bit unearth, but it's to help you master those gifts, to cultivate those skills and talents. Why is it important for us to cultivate those skills and talents? It is for our own good, number one. And what do I mean by our own good? In that Aquarius rant I share, it is important that we cultivate those skills and talents, not only for our own good, but what I'm trying to say is that we are being cultivated on an individual, as an individual. We're being cultivated as an individual. You don't have to do anything. But if you aren't comfortable where you are, then you'll do the work. And the work is highly demanding. But when you're done, you come out, you are a master. That's the individual experience. But remember, it's not just you and me. It's every individual in humanity going through this. So what we will end up with by the end of the age of Aquarius is a population of masterful individuals that will learn to, under Aquarius energy, work together in order to gain what you want, what we want. What do we want? Do we want to continue descending and down into this hellish state? Or do we want to bring heaven back upon this earth? Okay, I have to say this here. This is a whole lot not understand, so I do ask you to ride the wave with me to get an understanding, because this information is important. It is very thick. It's very, very thick right here, and I understand that. And I'm not doing a good job delivering the message, but if you ride the wave and truly engage me, you may come out understanding at least a little bit of what I'm saying. So let's talk about how did I go? Each individual, once again, try this again. Each individual, man, woman, or child, has the gift. It will be cultivated. You will master something. Okay, that's what I was going to say. Now, out of all the millions of people in this world, everybody ain't going to want to awaken, or stay awakened, or want to master themselves. Why? Because the demand is great. Heck, it's too much. Now, I got a side note right here, is that this process has been going on for centuries. It's been going on for centuries. God, universe, all is trying to get us there. Trying to get us there. The age of Aquarius is the moment of awakening. It seems that God realized that we were in the blind, that we were asleep, that we had to be awakened. And the process, we had to wait on the process. The process is here and now for us to awaken to see that we didn't have the game book. So, end of side note. So, back to these gifts. Each man, woman, and child has a gift. For those that are willing to master their gift or gifts, that are willing to be burnt in the furnace, refined, chiseled away at, is demanding, strenuous, tedious, to say the least. Various levels of mastery will be achieved. This just depends, because remember, this is Saturn, how much work you're willing to put in on a particular area in life. Again, most of us are blind. We can't see, but don't worry about it. God sees. And God, life, is leading us to master those gifts, all those challenges, I'm trying to say. It's teaching you how to master yourself and your gift. Now, this mastery, let me cut it because this video is getting long and I'm still not getting it out any better. This mastery in whatever field, the gifts, will be equivalent to the level of work you put in, the level of mastery you achieve. Now, in your personal life, you will, again, meet with some hell of a challenges, and it's not going to make sense. You're being re-educated. You're being awakened. And all evidence of your lessons will be revealed to you in your personal, intimate life. Everything from the challenges, if you are facing those challenges, the reoccurrence of those challenges, the retackling of those challenges, and your level of mastery will give to you a gift equivalent to your level of mastery. You will see how you're doing in the school of life. If you're learning the lesson, and to what level you are learning the lesson. Now, you as an individual reach a level of mastery. You know it because what you worked so hard on that had you depressed, stressed out, fearful, you finally overcome it. If you get to that level, of course, you overcome it. And you see, it don't look like a gift, but you got to look at it again. And you realize, like, God damn, I did that. I didn't even know I was capable of doing that. Wow, that's the gift. Directly related to your challenges, life situations, and circumstances that you must battle through and eventually master or overcome whatever you choose to do. You don't got to do nothing. But you ain't going to find no relief either if you don't do nothing. So, now you got this gift. And not only you have a gift or gifts, every other individual in humanity that was willing to participate has a gift or gifts. Now, let's talk a little further about the age of Aquarius, saying you got to come together with a large group, large networking, in order to gain what you need. So, who needs to come together? Me, you, and every individual in humanity need to come together to work together. We got it. Don't worry about it. We guided by life, the all, God, universe, however you like to address that divine energy, to begin to bring this world back into a heavenly state. But I was talking about this gift on an individual level. At some point in time, being joined with the gift or gifts of others in humanity, in which you're going to work together. We're going to work together. Humanity is going to work together to bring back the heavenly state. Or, because we don't have to do anything, we're going to work together and continue to descend down into the pits of hell. It's up to us. It's completely up to us. Anywho, now I guess I'll stop and talk a little bit more in brief about the elite. You know, those people that already had the game book to this life and how to live it. They ain't no fools. They ain't no fools. See, for centuries, these elitist family, generationally, have had it down, this information, this playbook. They ain't no fools. So they set things in motion to make it difficult for the rest of humanity to align, because we don't know. Now, while they are aware and conscious from the moment they pop out the womb, humanity gets so numb and so confused. They get numbed down by the current constructs. It begins to seem like we're watching paint dry. We ain't getting no answers from God, from the universe, from no. We desensitized on so many levels. But the issue was, God was always talking. The rule book was already here. Some hoarded it from us. So, the age of Aquarius had to emerge for us to be awakened, to gain the information so that we can gain enlightenment and we can set a plan up. We can make a choice. As I mentioned, all of this has been taking place for centuries. And so what I want to talk about now, I said earlier I was going to talk about drugs. Everybody like talking about drugs. So we're going to talk a little bit about drugs and how that plays in on what's been taking place for centuries. I'll start back in the, I had wrote some notes and I don't know what I did with it, so I'm going to try to go by memory. I'm talking about generational drug usage. Generational, what did I write here? Generationally drug-induced coma, conscious coma? You can't be conscious if you got coma. Generationally drug-induced coma of your consciousness. There you go. Try that again. Generationally drug-induced coma of your consciousness. Generationally. When I was doing my research on drugs, I started back in the 1940s. Let me stop. Let me add a side note here before I forget. A few years back, I just end up reflecting. I'm not going to go into details why. I end up reflecting upon, just in the course of my life, the drugs that hit the scene, hit the streets. I realized, I was like, dang, when I was 15, this drug hit the scene. Then when I was 25, this drug hit the scene. Then when I was 35, this drug hit the scene. Every decade, it was a new drug on the street. Popularized, glamorized. There's something to that. So, let's talk about drugs. Generationally, drug-induced coma of your conscious. Whose conscious? Yours, mine, and everybody in humanities. Now, I gotta say this. Another side note. We know that drugs, I'm not an advocate for drug usage, but we know that drugs can open you up to portals, spiritual dimensions. So, back over to them, the elite. If the elite take some dope under controlled circumstances, they gonna have a different experience than a poor man or woman or child that takes drugs. They're gonna have a different experience. And why is that? Number one is the mindset. The elite already have a set of rules or brackets in which to frame their spiritually drug-induced spiritual experience. They going in there for a purpose. Where, poor or basic or common or layman woman or child that has a drug-induced spiritual experience is kicking in or battering ramming themselves into a dimension they know nothing about and entering it without a purpose or cause or exit. What you think gonna happen? Okay, it's end of side note. Okay, now what was I saying? We are currently, or I'm trying to communicate about generationally drug-induced coma of your consciousness. Whose consciousness? Mine, yours, every individual in humanity's consciousness being sent into a coma state every decade by a new drug. Now, I only look back. I know opiates and stuff existed forever because they're part of nature. So I just really started my search back in the 1940s. And I'm not going to be able to go by memory, but I'm going to try, so I might be incorrect in what I say. But you catch me. You catch me. Let's talk about 1940s. I think that in the 1940s, of course, cocaine was the issue. Then in the 1950s, cocaine was outlawed or illegal or banned. And then alcohol was the next drug of choice. Of course, you know, once a drug is out, once Pandora's box is open, you can't close it. So we know cocaine was still running around here, plus alcohol. Okay, that was 1940s and 50s. Come 1960s, what was it? It was a LSD was added. Once Pandora's box is open, it cannot be closed. So we know that at least there was cocaine, alcohol, and LSD. It was something else. Okay, let's go to the 1970s. 1970s, what was introduced? Don't forget, it was heroin. Heroin, late 60s, going in the early 70s. Just trying to go by memory. So now we know once Pandora's box is open, it cannot be closed. Starting from the 1940s, we got cocaine, then alcohol, then LSD, and then heroin. Okay, now let's go to the 1980s. Now, I was born in 70, so I remember these things coming into existence every 10 years. It was like, wow. Okay, 1980s, It was crack cocaine. It was something else. It was something else. Yeah. Amphetamines was the issue in the 1940s too, I think. So we're going to add that. We know that Pandora's box cannot be closed once it is open. So by 1980s, we have cocaine, we have alcohol, we have LSD, we have, what was after LSD? The 70s, heroin. After that, it was the amphetamines. And then what was it? And crack cocaine. No. Yeah, 80s, crack cocaine. Okay. In 1990, okay. We know once Pandora's box is open, it can't be closed. But, in 1990s, now all of a sudden, marijuana, which was, marijuana was available the whole time. But let me say this. I got 14 more minutes. You can tell I don't know how to roll nothing. We're going to come back to it. We're talking about dope. Well, that ain't a good example. So, anyway, we know marijuana has always been on the market as a natural substance. I'm not advocating dope, but Pandora's box is open. And so, since the 1940s, we've been dealing with marijuana. We've been dealing with, what the heck was that in 1940? Cocaine. And more natural substances, marijuana, cocaine, and alcohol. And then after alcohol in the 1950s, then 1960s, it was, LSD in 1970s. Yeah, 1970s, it was, there's so many dopes. Heroin, 1980s, crack cocaine, 1990s. Here go the reemergence or the glamorization of marijuana. Now, back in the day, you smoke a little, they call it a joint. Smoke a little joint. It wasn't enough to puff and pass. You just puffed a couple times, you was done. But coming the 1990s, you was smoking cigars. Cigar leaf full of marijuana. What you put at least a nickel bag, a dime bag of Regos, and you got a blunt this fat or bigger. Now, that's a whole lot. You do everything in moderation. It's been glamorized since the 1990s. I remember the onset of this new way of using or inducing marijuana. I remember the first blunt I smoked. I hit that mother sucker and it threw me back in the wall and left my imprint. I was like, something wrong with that. Something wrong with that. So for some years after, I just was the only one. Everybody else smoking blunts. I smoked a little joint. I'm done. Okay. Now, I want to start right here as to talk about marijuana and its real introduction or its reintroduction and glamorization in the 90s. I think it was about 91, actually, when I won't go into details because YouTube is so restrictive now. I got stuff to say. But that's been 27 years. People have been smoking big blunts, not joints, blunts, for 27 years. And not just one blunt, no. I know people right now that smoke 4, 5 blunts a day. I know people that smoke 4, 5 blunts a day, and they're not regals, they different exotic blends. They high. They high. Okay. That was 1990s. Now the Pandora's box is open in the 1990s. We've always dealt with weed, but we were smoking joints. Okay. Then it was the cocaine, the alcoholism, or the alcohol. Then it was the what came after the alcohol? It was the cocaine, 50s, alcohol, 60s, LSD, 70, heroin, amphetamines, 80s, crack cocaine, 90s, blunts. I ain't gonna just weed, blunts. Then in 2000s, oh my God, the gates were open. The floodgates were open. And the next generation, every 10 years, it was more. Now we got all them we done talked about. Now we got, what we call it? Dang, what was that list? Whew. Molly's, crocodile. We got synthetic drugs, synthetic weed, bath salts. Oh man, you name it, a motherfucker high as hell right now. Generationally drug-induced coma of your consciousness. God damn, I gotta cuss. I can't be nice about that. Now, that's a whole lot. And why has this introduction every 10 years happen? Every decade? It is because there's a new generation being brought into existence every 10 years. And remember, it's about the elite maintaining control. You cannot let the people, humanity, wake up. It was so many drugs on that list. By the time I finished my research, I was like, God dang, I didn't even know it was that many drugs. They come in all kind of forms. And pay attention, some of these drugs are fashioned or molded to entice children. They had one that looked like a Skittle. They had one that looked like a vitamin. Come in sparkly packages, all kind of stuff. And it's some synthetic drugs, you know. You buy in the store, the gas station. The kids don't know. They be like, it's sold in the store, the gas station. It's okay because it's in the store, the gas station. No, it's not. This stuff still is chemically blended, but I'm going all off. That's another video I might have to go in detail with. Gotta make a video so the kids watch. Talk some crap with them. Anyway, we're still talking about how humanity has been dumbed down generationally through drugs, and how that drug usage, generational drug usage, introduction, glamorization, magnification of drugs, particular drugs by generation, and it also has something to do with the social. You gotta look. It also has to do with where society is at any given time historically, but that's going into another video about which drug is pushed to the forefront for the people to ingest and to send them into their consciousness into a state of a coma so that they won't awaken. So it's all been about keeping the people from awakening to come to what I'm talking about here. Mastering yourself in order to take control, to work together with the rest of humanity, to take control of where we're going to want this world to be. To continue to send down into a hell state, or if we want to bring it up to a heavenly state. As long as a person's mind is in a coma, unconscious, preoccupied. Preoccupied with what? One example is going into them spiritual realms ill prepared for what one will encounter. Can't come out. And if you do, you come out messed up. So I'm saying all of this has been a work in progress. What has been a work in progress? Getting to this moment of awakening and enlightenment, consciousness and awareness. It's been a process of it's been a masterpiece at work. God has been working. Universe has been working. We were not conscious that universe, God, or however you like to address the divine being, was at work. Now is the time that universe, God, all the divine spirit is allowing us to wake up so that we can recognize that it's at work. And it's going to also wake us up so we personally understand we have responsibilities and duties to perform. Our divine energy is allowing us to wake to our the demands that are upon us, as well as to see how these elitists have been successfully shrouding or creating an illusion or delusion so that people can't see. We'll see them too. This is the first time in the history of humanity, I do believe, that we are given an increased opportunity to truly see, to take the blindfolds off, the rose-colored glasses, to see through the veils, to debunk stuff that we thought was true. It's a purpose. It's a purpose. So anyway, this video is much longer because I was trying to preach and be poetic. I just woke up, my ears draining, you know what I'm saying? But what was this video about? It's about the elite versus the rest of humanity. The elite had the playbook to how to live in this life, how to play, where the rest of humanity did not. This has been a work in progress. God has been talking to us, divine has been talking to us. We just didn't understand him. But in the age of Aquarius, now we are enlightening. We are waking up. But what has been taking place? Because God has been talking to us. God has been working. We just didn't know it. Well, hell, every 10 years, it's been a drug-induced a coma of your consciousness, our consciousness from generation to generation. Pandora's box was open. Once it was open, it didn't shut down. Every 10 years, a new drug was glamorized, introduced and glamorized, and it was all to put us back to sleep. If the constructs didn't put us to sleep, we could see through it, then the stresses of the world might have led us, or wanting to socialize, belong, or whatever it may have led us to take some dope. Anyway, it was all about putting us to sleep. But now we're up. And now we understand what drugs are capable of doing, why they have been used to put us back to sleep and to limit us. Oh, I almost forgot. I talk so much. One more thing about the drugs, and then I'm going to go, is that, remember, Saturn is about mastering yourself. Me, you, and every individual in humanity. Mastering your gift and skill. You will be receive an award, and that award is equivalent to your level of work, however hard you're willing to work. You don't have to do anything, but if you want some comfort, you want some relief, you want something to change, you're going to do the work, and that work is highly demanding, and you will get that which is equal to your works. So relative to drugs, drugs make you lazy. Oh, another thing I forgot to say. When it came to them drugs, across the border, it was all about memory loss or some type of psychosis or something. So it's really affecting the mind. The mind is one of the playing grounds for all this spiritual and physical warfare. So if your mind is shot to shit, how can you master yourself? I'll leave that for you to answer. Anyway, thank you for coming here to Can Angels Fly and talking about awakening. Awaken. Game recognized game. Booyah. Bye.